just point out is I want to thank Caitlin for making the Olympics work. Where's Caitlin? It's really easy to forget the amount of work that goes into so many things in this organisation. And there was a lot of work to get the Olympics up and running, and last minute pressures and things like that. Although the events just happened, it takes time and effort. There was a committee got together, but really Caitlin got the ball rolling and made it happen. So again, I want to thank you. I also want to do a massive shout out to Abira and Ange. This presentation, whilst we'll fly through it in the next hour and a half, it's probably taken them nothing short of 100 hours this week and last week. It's a massive commitment to something that we're going to fly through together. And so try and appreciate the presentation, the effort that's gone in by them. It's a big project. It has a lot of, rounds to it to make sure it has flow and work. So I just want to thank you guys for putting the time and effort you have. Okay, this slide really sums up for me the year, and I wanted to open with it as we put it together, and that's because it's absolutely true. We are absolutely better because one another, and no one in this organisation is less important than anyone else. And the reason this wheel keeps turning and keeps moving forward is because of the part that every single person and every single team plays in it. And it's important to acknowledge that. It's important to understand that sometimes we're in our own silos and we think we're the ones operating the best, or we think we're the ones that are have got some issues. But the reality is the wheel keeps spinning because this organisation is actually great at combining and working together. And it takes a lot of teams and a lot of people. And the greatest strength we've seen over time has not been in our products, but been in the people in this organisation. And that's why when you look up there at that chart, it's not what do we do? It's not about the services we operate, but rather it's about the people that make that happen. And that's what makes coming to work great. That's what makes the challenges we face, we go through together. That's what puts smiles on our face. And it's what makes us hate work sometimes. But that's all part of the journey. That's part of every single journey through life. And I thought it was really important to start with a moment to just bring it all together, because there are so many layers to this. And, even today, we won't really talk about marketing, sales, IT, recruitment, or finance, because they're not really a business unit. They're a shared function. But really, they bring it together. They actually connect the dots across the business and enable us to, communicate, to cross-sell, to have better relationships with our clients and grow year on year. So well done to every single one of you. I think it's really important to remind ourselves how far we reach and what we're trying to achieve. From the South Island of Auckland to Darwin to Perth, we cover across this country in New Zealand. And we do it with a purpose. And the purpose is to make sure that every employee can come to work and go home safely. And everything we do is what we call in this proactive space. And that's an important reminder. We're not here to pick up the mess when someone is injured and an absolute disaster case and they have insurers and all these other companies that come in and do that. Our purpose is to enable employees and workers to come to work and hopefully avoid injury and illness and be well at work. And that's something to be proud of. It's not a widget. We don't sell a widget. We talk about health. Health is massive in this world, right? And we get to play a part in the lives of hundreds of thousands of people now across Australia and New Zealand. So it's important to remind yourself of that in the daily grind. What we do, we have purpose around, and it means we're making a difference for the lives of people. So let's reflect on the year that's gone by, and there are lots of memories, and we're going to get to our yearly video later. Lots of highlights. I'm going to say that one of my favourite highlights of the year was really watching people stuff marshmallows in their mouth the other day. That happened in the Melbourne office, guys. It was one of my highlights, but there were so many across both Australia and New Zealand. And each team knows what their highlights were, and they can go back and think about moments they might have had. I had one in New Zealand a couple of weeks ago. And there are lots of things that we get to celebrate as teams. There was axe throwing at some point during the year. But it's really important when we come to these days that we stop and we talk about it and we reflect on the highlights we had through the year. So we're going to go around the grounds as we always do, and we're going to start with New Zealand. And I always stand up here and say the same thing to you guys. The team in New Zealand are amazing. And it breaks my heart that we don't get to connect more face to face. But the reality is they're alive and they're buzzing and they've got energy and they're trying things that sometimes we can't try in Australia. And they've got a lot to celebrate. So I'm going to start with your NPS, which a lot of people don't even understand, to be honest. But what an NPS represents is really how our clients view us. How do they rate us? Right? Make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. So the internal NPS is how are we viewed by our employees in the organisation. And when Dave came on board, the score was minus 62. Now, what does that mean? If you look up here in the top left corner, minus 100 to 0 is clearly needs improvement. Minus 100, you're pretty bloody shit.
Everyone hates you.
Everyone hates you. That's pretty much what you're being told. The most recent one they did was 67, and that puts them in a grade. How they are viewed and how the company is viewed and how the senior management is viewed by the wider range of employees. It's a sign of great culture in an organisation. And New Zealand really breathes that when you're over there. You look at their year, they have 100% retention of their physios this year. I mean, we wish we had that in Australia, right? It's an amazing stat. It's a sign of a place you want to be a part of, right? They had a massive strategy session earlier in the year that we went to help set the course for where they were going. There's a photo of Dave, sent it to me, it says Elvis is leaving the building. I got that the other day, which he was incredibly excited about. But you know, he's happy to be back. They're also setting up an accredited return to work program, which they're now launching. So they're working with the corporates. They've come in through Aon as a broker, insurer, and they're now going to help facilitate return to work through the ACC program over there. All right, new product. We don't even remotely deliver it here, but over there, it's very valuable to what they're trying to achieve in this injury prevention space. The team itself, the business has grown 21% in the last year, which I think is pretty incredible. Their hours are increasing. They've picked up Nestle, which we've struggled forever to try and win Nestle in Australia. They've got Nestle and other clients on board. Emma Archer, top right corner with the arrow. We did an archery day. Yes, her name's Emma Archer. Very competitive. She took us all out in that tournament. But Danny Kovics is also, we've got a photo of him at one of the sites out there. They've really built their brand and reputation over there, and it is growing year on year, and it's got a great feel. And they celebrate. Every month they do a social activity. And in Australia, you'll feel we're starting to do that as well. We're really coming back onto that chart. All right. They've got ISO accredited. All right. We all know it's a massive achievement. For those of you that don't know what ISO accreditation is, it's really ensuring as an organisation you're meeting standards that are assessed against. It's making sure that you've got systems in place. And I can tell you that I stood here 5 years ago. It was at Nat. Someone grilled me on our processes and our systems. Nat, where's Nat?
Angel.
It was Claire Angel, right? And they grilled me on processes, and they said, "Well, what about our systems? How are we going to get better?" And we've come on leaps and bounds to have better systems around the organisation. I want to ask David to say a few words about New Zealand, but I just want to point out Danny Kovacs, really good story. Young guy, on-site physio, went on to be a CRM, has nailed it through the last 3 years. Like, he's 24/7. Thinking about where this business is going. He's got the attitude about New Zealand. How am I going to take it to the next level? And he's made his way through the journey, like Mick, who I'm sure I'll talk about today. And he's now been put up to National Operations Manager. And just a true sign of someone that is committed to health, to improving the people of New Zealand, and has come through the journey. And let me tell you, you get time to meet Danny at some point. We'll get him over here next year. He is just an absolute blast and a great guy to be around. Dave, even Evan smiling, you spend time with Danny. Do you want to just talk quickly about New Zealand?
Yeah,
really nice.
I'll be quick, guys, but I just wanted to take the opportunity. Being over the ditch, it's hard watching on the screen. So I just wanted to really say thanks to Team New Zealand, wherever you are. For a long time, guys, I've believed that really good people with a clear and inspiring purpose, which Dean's talked about today, and values that you live every single day and embodied and reinforced by the team would create a really good team and a successful business. But the Kiwis taught me it's much more than that. It creates a place where you want to come to work and you actually love the people you work with. And And I want to say thanks to Team New Zealand. You guys rock. And it's bittersweet for me to leave because I'm leaving awesome people. But the sweetness is that they've got great leadership over there, Danny and Emma. I'm really looking forward to seeing where they take the business and how they, as Emma always says, stick it up the Aussies. And
She really does.
but yeah, Emma also says it's like a family over there, and it truly is. So see you later, family. But good luck. I know you're going to do without me. So,
Yeah.
Thanks, Dana.
He thought he was going to cry through that moment, so we've got him through part A of his session today. All right, let's jump on to consulting services. I call them HealthWorks consulting services. We can reference them however we want. This team, I don't know if it's just me, but it feels like it has just grown. It's sort of come out of the shadows. It is alive and it is thriving. And if you talk about a journey of a part of a business, this company, HealthWorks within our group, has got a lot to celebrate. And if you think they're covering government clients now, which the rest of the business has always struggled to do, they've got NIB they're talking to. So in big insurers, Bupa, it's looking like, and we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but we should be at this point with Bupa. But just to share with the team, we're basically going to be their white label service for health services into all their corporates. All right, we're starting off with one layer of service, which will be heart checks, correct? We had a week, contract's been negotiating for 7 months, but that's because of them, not us. But effectively, we thought there'd be roughly 10,000 assessments, Claire, would that be right, a year? Claire got told yesterday there'll be 18,000 heart checks done through them next year. Now, if you just come back to purpose, providing information back to employees, having impact, our ability to then service large health insurers and be in front of people around this country to provide information around their heart, it's going to make a difference. Someone out there is going to benefit. And we think, issues, the amount of deaths that are caused by cardiovascular issues in this country every year, clearly we're going to stop a couple of heart attacks with this journey. Real impact, right? But back to the business unit. She's also talking to another insurer. They're up there. We're navigating our way through NIB at this point. Real opportunity. They service so many clients every year. As a matter of fact, if I jump through a slide, they did 1,400 programs last year. There's roughly 250 to 260 working days in a year. And their programs aren't like on-site physio where we turn up week in, week out and have a structured program. Every program requires a different type of proposal, a different way of thinking around a service because every client needs something a little bit different. And everyone is a different transactional service they're selling. They spit out roughly how many proposals go out a month out of HealthWorks? 60 to 80, if you can't hear me. So the team are incredible. They're growing, and we're seeing that. Operations is growing, but really 2024 for them, I think Claire, like her heart skips a beat when I say that. You're going to see it's going to be huge. They've just come so far as a team and it's incredible to watch. I want to go back a slide because there's some really great stuff here. I just want to talk about Tanya joining the team. Tanya's in Queensland, right?
Yes, and she's been in the team.
Been in the team, she's taking over the one-day mental health program. Correct. I also want to just talk about their growth. Every year when we set the budget, and I'm trying not to say budget today, by the way, but I'm just going to say it for this one. Every year when we set the budget, Claire goes, there's no way. And every year she virtually hits it, right? Yeah, last year just missed it, but virtually. The point is the business grows every year, and next year you're going to see a huge amount of growth in it. And to the team, who are clearly the fittest team in this organisation, it's out of control what happens. And I say it also in most of these talks, you've got to ask them. You've got to ask them what they're doing. But they're incredible and they're growing amazingly. What I want to do is celebrate a few things. We're going to say goodbye to Jill. Jill has been with HealthWorks for what I want to say is forever. Do we have a number of years? If you've had the Jill. Jill effectively has run finance for HealthWorks over the years and a lot of other things on the side. She is an institution. She is a part of this family, and she's going to be incredibly missed by this team. She's one of those individuals just gets her stuff done. You know, there's no fuss. I don't think I've ever heard once Claire say anything like she's got an issue with Jill in any way. Like it's just always seems like she gets her stuff done, and she just is a part of this thing. She just blends in beautifully. So I think I want us to put our hands together to thank Jill for 18 years. If you haven't heard of her, Jill, I want to wish you all the best on whatever it looks like post Healthworks. I don't think it's work. I think it's travel and enjoying life and time to go and retire and enjoy yourself. Janelle, 27 years. So Janelle has done a number of jobs within the Healthworks team over the years, from newsletters to running the tech side of things. Got that covered mostly. Marketing, again, another just part of the institution of who Healthworks are. And Janelle, I want to say congratulations on 27 years. I've got a photo there on the right because really they are the athletes of this organisation. And so we're just going to need to point out and Claire, hang on.
Mine's pathetic.
Claire succumbed to the athleticism of the organisation and went to Queenstown this year to run a fun run with a group of people. How many Ks you do? You can build. Rod would have said a marathon, so you had a chance there to say a marathon, right? But they're sucking her in, so she'll be doing a Red Bull race next year for sure. All right, Injury Prevention Australia. The business that just keeps on giving. Every single year, we talk about how big's the market? Is it growing? Can we find new clients? Honestly, it is just a business that keeps on growing every year. And the structure, I think the real success around this team this year has been it's had a really challenging time through the year, but the structure of the business feels really good into 2024. And the mood around it feels really great now when I walk around the office. And whilst it says they've got 69 on-site clients, there's actually 380 something on-site clients. So they're clients, companies, but that business services roughly 380 sites on a weekly basis. There might be some that go fortnightly, but pretty much on a weekly basis. That's a pretty impressive operation. And the reality is that for most of us, we see this great team that are in the offices that are doing the behind the scenes management, managing clients, making sure timetables work. And timetables are the worst word that I can say to that team right now because we're trying to manage summer timetables. But the chaos, the problems, but the reality is, and I said it in the wheel at the beginning, it takes a lot of people to make that part of the business work. And there is a whole team of health professionals that go out on site every single week that are the game changers. And actually, we've got a couple here today. I saw Vish. Vish is rolling around, but there's a whole team of health professionals that literally day in, day out represent our values and what we want to be out in the open world to these clients. And it is an amazing business. 75,000 hours of treatment, injury prevention. I mean, it's a pretty impressive number to itself. And it keeps on winning. Evan, with CSR, new client?
CSR, new client.
New client. So we won them, started with them.
It would have been, post or return from paternity leave. Bride's allocated CSR to me. We had a perception that it might be
A couple of sites.
How many sites are we going to be rolling into?
Yeah, so as of February next year, we're going to be rolling into between 60 to 65 sites. Our initial perception was that it was going to be about 5 on a fortnightly basis. But to echo what Dan was suggesting about, purpose as well as, growth and revenue that we've highlighted here, our clients aren't going to necessarily grow with us in the event that this pilot, they weren't seeing the results or really appreciative of our efforts. And I know that there's a lot of work that went behind the scenes. And more recently, after a lunch yesterday, an opportunity to tap into some other business units within CSR as well. So you'd like to,
It's around 80 comes from. And it's growing all the time. And that's one example of a client. Matt had a conversation with LHM. What's LHM? Early days. I'm going to put you on the spot. FHM. A big Singapore company that just bought DHL and Border Express. They're going to be expanding. When no one knows that, sorry. No one knows that. Don't share that information. We won't share that with but you know, he's just got off the phone with Fonterra. That we can share, all right? And Fonterra want to keep growing sites. They want to roll up pre-employments.
Yep.
There's just action happening. And you know, I think some of the real things to celebrate are on the front end. But the truth is, within that unit, there's been some big changes this year. Some ones that have been really hard to deal with emotionally as a business. But there's a great sense of responsibilities and purpose as we move forward now. And I just want to do a shout out to Bridie, because it's really hard to lead change. Change is a very difficult thing. And Bridie went through a very hard, I'm going to say 5-6 months in trying to understand how to create a positive direction forward in a better in an organisation that's going to run better. And she then had to take that to her team, and that was really challenging for her personally and for everybody else. But a massive shout out, because that is leadership at its best, and she's done an amazing job. And when I look around the team now, it just feels like that people are much clearer on the direction. We've broken things down a little bit differently, and you know, to the point that you know Nathan now is heading up, pretty much overseeing the physios and their development. Yeah, pretty much. Right, specific role around development, and being supported by senior physios in each state on development. And so there's real purpose around what's going on in that unit. And I think I'm really excited for what, you know, the ability to bring on 70 sites. Sounds scary, but it sounds possible right now, right? And so well done, guys. Really, really good. Well, I'm just going to push play. So this is the team that you don't get to see, that are the movers and the shakers on site. Come work with us. So I used to talk about them as our physios. Oh, there might be more. Hang on. It's just carrying this. I used to talk about our group as our physios. One of the great things that's happened this year is we now have an osteo working for us. 3. So we've expanded our ability to service clients in different ways. For some reason, for 20 years, we were like, no, we're only physio. But you know, there's a lot to learn, and so we've got some physios in, some osteos in, and the feedback to date is they've been incredible, and we're learning as much from them as they're probably going to learn from us. So, you know, great work, guys. Good eye-opening thing. So some really important stuff that you should know about those guys. They've started running, and you know, Nathan's really had this up. There's an ongoing PD program for all our health professionals now. Monthly, how many do we run this year, Nathan? Enough? 12.
Yeah,
I've got 12 up here.
Was virtual one, but
Yeah. They've now got an LMS platform, so learning management system. Yeah. And what's in the LMS? Share with us things like
everything a physio would need in the first 6 weeks onboarding. So from, you know, the first session they do with us to some health training modules, and need to know stuff like how to use the software.
Which is amazing. So if I was to go back 2 years, for those of you that have been here long enough, and actually for some of you, it's probably happened the last year, it's like, hey, welcome to work, sit down, get going, right? And we'll work it out along the way, right? And the truth is that that's been an incredible development for that part of the business, because there's an amount of turnover that exists in this new market that we live in, and this ability to enable physios to know, have resources to know where to go is a huge thing. So well done, guys. Great shout out. And Taylor has had a baby. Yes. We're all very excited. I thought that was a photo of her holding a baby, but it's not. I feel like there's alcohol in her hand. I can't work that out there, but maybe that was the baby shower. But congrats, Taylor, if you're listening. Fantastic. All right, health assessments. We deliberately got Jacob to do this photo for us for this. And the reason being is that a year ago, I would have sat here and there was a lot of noise coming out of health assessments, a lot. And I'm going to say the noise, it didn't feel great for anybody. And we tried to put a positive spin on it, but the truth was it was really, really challenging. And it's been a massive journey for that part of the business over the last 12 to 18 months. We came out of COVID, We actually forgot about health assessments during COVID, and I take full responsibility for that. We changed our focus. We hired people. We didn't give good guidance, and that's all on me. We came out and we had no systems in place at all. And what the end result was, every client was upset with us, and caused a lot of grief across the business, not just for health assessments, but even for the on-site team, because they share clients. And there was so much noise, and it was negative. And the reason that Jacob's doing this, which is is because really right now, there's not a lot of noise. It's actually positive. And there's a lot of good stories and a lot of clients that are grateful, and that are telling us that they love the service. And, you know, to the point that we turned around to some clients and said, we're not going to service you anymore. They've come back to us, some of those clients. All right. It really is coming along beautifully. And I want to do a massive shout out to Mick. And there's no one in that team that wouldn't agree with me. She hates the attention. I'm going to just put it out there. She's sitting over there, in case you don't know who Mick is. Mick is an absolute superstar. And the reason she's a superstar is because she's just an incredible individual that is capable of creating a system and then getting the buy-in from those around her. And that is a real challenge as a leader. She gets the buy-in, she engages, she takes feedback, she's enabling people in that team to develop and grow through their career. She's got stability in the team. And I think on the next slide, and I'll just jump to it, 2 slides later, we've now got several team members that have been there over a year, which might feel like, well, that's not a long time, but it's challenging when you think we came out of COVID and people not knowing what to do. Now she's stabilised that business unit. And I feel like every week she brings something fresh to the table for the business to help develop and have the systems better. So Mick, you're an absolute legend. And on behalf of everyone, thank you for all the work you do. There's lots to celebrate here. The turnaround times have reduced by 60%. And turnaround time is really, I'm going to say, nearly the most important thing to every client that we talk to, certainly at the start. That's what they want. They want someone to come, put a booking request in, and for that information to be back to them as quickly as possible, especially in a world when you can't get an employee. There's 10 truck drivers, there's 1,000 jobs. We're going to turn them around quickly and get them back to them. So that's an amazing improvement. And that took change in system. That's not just throw more people at it. That's change in system and the way they go about it. They've successfully rolled in the DJCS, and a massive shout out to Jordan for doing that and being a big part of that. Big government client, Department of Justice and Community Services, basically everyone that works in a penitentiary. Yep, pretty much. And that client couldn't be happier. It's going unbelievably smoothly. Don't know how. Credit to you guys for making that happen. Other things that have happened in that business that you should be aware of, and we've done a lot of maturing in the last 12 months. But one thing that happened was we did a clinic rationalisation project. So we decided last year or the year before, incorrectly, under my guidance, terrible call by me, let's expand our network. We need more clinics everywhere. Go out and get them. Let's make it happen. I remember we paid someone to go and just sign up 100 clinics. We just need people to do it. It was a disaster. And what ended up happening was that costs went up. Cost of clinics, they just charged whatever they wanted. We had no consistency. So a project which has been running for a few months now has been about, right, let's make sure we've got some clinics we trust. Let's send more volume to those clinics. Let's build a better relationship with them so that we can go back to them with feedback. They can come back to us. And with more volume, we can get a lower price. It's a massive project into itself, and it's worked. And it's looking like it's probably going to save that business unit several $100,000 this year alone just by doing that project moving forward, which is an amazing achievement. And better quality, right? Better outcomes. All these things that come with it. We opened a body care clinic. I've been saying for 10 years, we're never opening another clinic again. So Rob, Matt and I had clinics years ago. We had 5 clinics at one point. And when we sold them, we said, we're never doing this again. They're really hard to run. But all the numbers said, we've got a space. Why don't we open a clinic? And in the last few weeks, it's been full. And Xanthi, wherever she is, Xanthi here somewhere, great job. People are loving it. If you come up here anytime you see a candidate coming in, the experience is a good experience. It feels calm in nature. And the intention now is, and Mick's looking at it with her team, they're looking at one in Brisbane, and we're going to start opening up a few clinics around the country and just feeding it through assessments. New Zealand was spoken about. New Zealand's also doing it. So there's a whole journey to go, let's have more focus on that. They've had 14% growth over the last year, which is amazing. Done 25,000 assessments. And let me tell you, Right now, if you ask the team, they're going to go, their numbers are down enormously. We're doing nearly half of what we were doing a year ago. It's not a quality issue. It's an issue that it's telling us a lot about the economy. It's actually interesting the things we're learning here. No one's hiring. FedEx have gone on a hiring freeze. Lots of companies, they've just stopped hiring, suggesting there's not as many jobs out there as people think they are. It's really interesting. So we've been able to track that. And because of the maturity that business unit has come on, they very quickly, within the first few weeks of realizing our numbers were dropping, could do an analysis, reached out to clients, and were able to understand that it wasn't service, it was actually what's happening in the marketplace out there. It's good analysis. It's good for the business to know those sort of things, and that comes with maturity. 12 months ago, no one would have thought we could think like that, ever. It was chaos. Everyone was scrambling. So amazing work, team. Really proud of that. I think I've sort of spoken to this, but the team are amazing, and I've put a comment up there. With stability comes strength, and I genuinely believe that. And I think that the team downstairs in health assessments are just stable. They care for each other. It is absolutely visible when you move into that space, and that is why it's operating so well. It comes back to people again. So well done, guys. Amazing work. Okay, my health record. The team that's sit upstairs that a lot of the body care team don't know about. I feel like the Myer Health Record team will know a lot more about body care than body care know about the Myer Health Record team. The focus over the last probably 12 months has been on, we made a decision that in this year, as a part of our strategy, we're not going to sell to clients. Sounds weird. We've got software to go to market. We're really going to avoid the temptation of selling to clients. Why? Because we have one enormous client that we know we need to nail and get right. So I've spoken about it before, but effectively we won a very big contract with Adecco, who was servicing a government organisation. It's set the business up now probably forever, the contract that's been won. With it comes some enormous changes to the software, an enormous effort and people. And I think there's going to be a team of roughly, let's call it 15 to 20 people that alone upstairs that will be working just on that contract to make it happen. And the benefit to the rest of the business is, and you see there it's finally happening, is that it's setting up Myer Health Record to have features that body care have never even seen in their software. Ever. Don't know about it yet. And it makes a lot of the body care senior leadership team feel actually nervous. Because what we've made a decision is as of next May, the transition is happening. And Myer Health Record is going to become the tech platform for body care. It's going to take time. We know that. It sounds scary, but that's going to be the line in the sand when it's going to start to happen. And we've got a team we're putting around it, and Jordan Robertson's going to come up and head that team. She's going to be in the Myer Health Record team. We've got the tech guys that are coming up. They're going to help be a part of this transition. And we're going to have working groups that are going to enable this transition to occur. And it's going to be a game changer for the body care business. So the Myer Health Record team are excited about it. And you'll see in due course as the engagement occurs, so will body care. So it's been a massive year. They've got their ISO audits. They're about to get an audit, pass an audit, which is called an IRAP assessment. So ISO is typically a standard of, I have got good systems of quality and security. It's a typical thing that we celebrate at body care. It just doesn't cut it at Myer Health Record and government. So they've got to go to a whole new level, which is why there's a security code to get into the Myer Health Record door, which obviously isn't set up yet. It will be once we pass assessment. But to the point that pretty much anyone that works in the body care, in the Myer Health Record team, has to get a thing called a baseline clearance with government, where they want every bit of information about you, to the point that every time you get on a plane and go overseas, you've got to go through an interview, and every time you come back, you've got to go through an interview over the phone with government. So it's really high level. This business is setting itself up to be able to service the highest level of security and government organisations across the country, and it's really exciting. And you will feel it as time goes on.
Still keeping Russ Lewis.
Thank
Doing all that.
That was him, not me. Russ actually does an amazing job, and very, very few of you understand what Russ does across this organisation. He's the group CTO. So he plays his part on both sides of the business. And whilst Russell Hobson oversees the development as the CTO of Record, the two of them have become this great team in ensuring that the platform and the body care platform are moving in the right direction. It's like a double layer of security. And let me tell you, they don't always agree with each other, which is a beautiful thing, which is what we want in this organisation. Because my greatest fear, I'm going to tell you, across this organisation, is a massive leak of health data of employees around this country. It is my greatest fear. Everything else we'll get through. But I don't want to be an Optus or a Medibank, and we hold a lot of information. So that is why we're very, very serious about our security and privacy. Anyway, back to Mike Health Record. So it's going to be delivered in September 2024. It goes live. It's a massive piece, and you're going to hear more about it. What's been amazing about it over the journey is that the team are working collaboratively with Sonic. Does everyone here know who Sonic Healthcare are? They're sort of a body care competitor, but not really. They deal with the big clients around the country. We do too, but like, you know, the big government contracts. And so literally on a weekly basis, Mike Health Record are in a room with Sonic, understanding their processes and how things work, with the intention that Sonic are actually going to use this system on their own probably in the next 12 months. They'll be using it for the Adecco project, and they love it. They're probably going to be using it on their own to service their clients, which will be fantastic. So there's amazing stuff happening in Mike Health Record, and one of the things that stands out in that team for me is their culture. They just, you know, we talk about New Zealand and we talk about the teams around the place. Maybe it's because we've got them up there secluded. We've got our Mike Health Record team get to have their own quiet space up there, but the culture in that team is amazing. And I've got to do a shout out to Georgie because she's an incredible leader across that group. Whether her title is leader or not, she just drives the organisation together with Russ Hobson, and it just has this great sense of connection. So cannot wait for this body care team to feel the power of Mike Health Record, and now it's about to happen, which is really exciting. All right. It's a bit bittersweet right now. I'm sure Dan's listening in, but he's not here, and that's really hard. Dan's in a hotel room.
About 100 metres from here.
Yeah, he's not far. We could probably wave to him. He's just over there somewhere. Dan, I'm going to talk to the group, but I'm really talking to you. And I wish he was here. He came down this week to really spend some time with a lot of people in the organisation. And we wanted him to here today, of course, to celebrate the time. He's been with us for 9 years, Dan. And there's not an individual in this organisation that Dan has not had an impact on in some way through that journey. And I remember when he started, Dan's always been the serious type, and he'll openly admit it. But when he started, he came actually out of a business in the UK, which was an on-site business in the UK, which he was a shareholder in. And he actually owned those shares for many years while working for us. Still ran that business well, was a partner in that business. And he came in as an on-site physio, meets CRM out of Sydney as we were growing. And within months, we knew that Dan had this potential to be whatever he wanted to be. Clients loved him. And we very quickly, it was around a couple of years, within a couple of years of the CRM, we got Qantas, biggest client in the history of this organisation. And whilst they're still big to us, they're certainly not what they were back in the day. And it was a no-brainer that Dan was the guy that was going to lead up our biggest contract ever, spread across the whole country, and our biggest team. And even launching that project, we talk about 70 sites at CSR, Qantas was a very different beast. Why? Because Qantas, the flying kangaroo. And whilst they may not have the best reputation right now, they are still our national carrier. And if you ask anyone around the world what they know about Qantas, it's safety. That's it. Like, they don't miss a beat in safety, right? And so taking that on as a CRM was going to be a massive task. Dealing with medical practitioners across that organisation and safety, it was a real challenge. And he just stepped in and he shone in that environment. And that client grew and relationships built. Didn't end up going so well for me and Dan in the end, but we had to step aside. We let others in, but he grew that contract. And, he then we removed Dan out of CRM and offered him the position of a joint COO with Dave. And that was probably one of the questionable decisions that happened in this business to that point. Why? Who has two COOs? Doesn't make any sense. Why would you have two? But the reality was these two were like this incredible team, which is why Dave's up here now, right? This incredible team that together enabled culture and growth to occur in our organisation at the same time. And through that journey, Dan has literally then been a part and been engaged with every single team member across the business, especially the leadership team. And even as I sit here today, and I think Bridie, over the years, and now Bridie heads up on site. But for years, she was reporting through to Dan and Dave, and Dan would have had a massive impact on her. Mick's career, and I think she'd say it, has evolved thanks to Dan. I would say you played a massive part, but the truth is that Dan knows how to engage with people and develop them. He's amazing with his ability to put systems around people and enable them to grow. And I want to let Dave say a few words, but the truth is, Dan, we are going to miss you. 9 years is enormous. He's going to be a farmer. He's got no job lined up. He's just going to enjoy. He's bought himself a parcel of land about a year and a half ago, I think now. Wants to build a property out on the farm. And, you know, I hope we continue to touch base with Dan over the years, and you all should, because he's a very special human that cares a lot about everybody and would never do anything to harm anybody in this world. He's a very special person. So, Dave, I know you want to say a few words.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. I thought I'd be speaking this to Dan, so it's a bit weird just standing up without him. But I always measure the impact of someone in a business by how far the business has grown over the time, and also what role they played in the key parts of that business moving forward. And when I think about Dan, I started 7 years ago. Dan had just started with Qantas. Matt, Rod, and Dean had just won Qantas, and it was the biggest thing I'd ever experienced. And Dan ran that whole business by himself, as Dean said, and they did amazing things. He created and worked with the physios to create a truly awesome team. And Nick, who's on the line here, was one of those on-site physios at the time that pushed our business to be better. I can honestly say that. And then he stepped out with Dean. And then COVID came, and Dean and Bridie ran the temperature checks. We couldn't fulfill our purpose at all. Our physios weren't allowed to go on site, but we found a way to keep people healthy, safe and injury-free during the pandemic. And I'm looking at Liz because I've got photos of her in a B1, B2 outfit. We know Gentex probably didn't do much, but just our physios being out there, educating people and supporting. And Dan and Bridie ran that whole business by themselves. And I know they were taking WhatsApp calls at all hours of the weekends. And then we got through it and came out the other side, and then another wave came. And Dean pulled us on a call on a Sunday and said, "Who knows anything about rapid engine testing?" And we all went, "No." He goes, "Well, you got a week. Get a business up and running because it's coming." And Dan did. Dan
We had 1,000 people
yeah.
within, I think, about 2 months. Of 1,000 people working across the country.
And Dan and Karen and then a bunch of other people just set up a system, and the sales team went to work. It was an amazing team effort, but Dan was at the epicenter of that progress, and that drove us to be a better business as well. And then when I look at when we came out of COVID, Dean's already talked about it, and Mick's team today, but the health assessments team was really in need of Dan's type of magic, and he, as only Dan can do, got his hands dirty, got in there, worked with the guys, and because of Dan, we have this awesome, flourishing, successful, happy team that we see today. And that started from Dan putting his hand up and saying, "I'll take this on." So, you know, the business is much bigger. We're much better. We've got amazing components to it. And Dan's played, in my opinion, truly amazing roles throughout that. So, as I said, it's a bit weird. I was going to say I miss his sense of humour, his self-depreciating sense of humour. I'm going to miss the calls after a meeting when he's like, "Are you all right? You didn't see yourself today?"
Yeah.
And I'm going to miss a bloody good mate.
Yeah, and it's interesting that Dave finishes like that. You look, I'm 47 now. I don't feel it, but I'm 47. And as I look back on the growth of this business, and you will all do that as your careers grow, there are special people that surround you through that journey. And when you look back, you really get this sense of appreciation of the impact that they've had on your own personal development through that journey. And Dan has had an enormous impact on my ability as a leader to grow. And he's pushed me when I didn't want to be pushed in different ways. And he's made me do things sometimes I didn't want to do for this organisation. But that's all part of learning and development, and it happens to all of us. And so I also want to say that I am incredibly grateful for the relationship that I've had with you, Dan. And I know you can hear us, but he's lying a bit probably. But you're just a very special person. And on behalf of everyone across this whole organisation of 9 years, and I'm just looking at his photos. You're looking up there. I want to say thank you. And whatever it looks like, you deserve only the best years ahead. So thanks, Dan. So it's fitting that we, that's Nina, by the way, for those of you who don't know. So fish markets in Sydney, Christmas party out there. I won't have better than that.
Hey Dan, it's just Bridie wishing you all the best in your next adventure. I want to say a massive thank you for all the help and support you've given me over the years. Definitely wouldn't be here without you. I guess your lasting legacy for me will be your Miro boards and all the colours I've managed to add to them. So thank you for everything you've given us and good luck with the farming and whatever the next thing brings you.
Hey Dan, it's Nick. I don't really know how to start to say thank you for all your support over the years. I definitely wouldn't be the manager or the person I am today without you and all the support. I really do wish you and the family all the best for your next adventure. Good luck being a farmer. It's not something I saw you becoming. Take care. All the best. Thank you again, Nick.
All right. Well on, Dan. So Dan, we did get Dan a present, which we're going to give him today, which I'm hoping he's got, might be sitting outside your room there, Dan. It's a box of Panadol. Hope you feel better. I won't tell you what it is in case you haven't opened it. But he obviously wanted to come and talk, and obviously say thank you and share his thoughts. He's written us a speech somehow in the last 24 hours so that we can read out on his behalf. Dave's been able to crack at it and see if he can hold us together.
So yeah, Dan's asked me to do it, but I'm notoriously bad at speaking when I care about something. So if I do cry, I'm going to hand it over to Dano to get going. So here we go. Hi everyone, Merry Christmas. This was not the speech that I had planned to give today, and I definitely hadn't planned on delivering it in this weird hybrid Queensland Kiwi accent. It is fitting, however, that my great mate, or bro, as Dave's been known for the last year, is able to represent me today to my work friends and colleagues as I pass the baton back to him in many ways at Bodycare. I'm grateful, as always, to you, Dave. I'm also grateful that one of my symptoms of this virus is insomnia, meaning I had plenty of time to write this at 3 a.m. this morning when I realised I was definitely not coming to the Christmas party today. Finally, I'm grateful I'm holed up in my South Melbourne hotel this morning rather than standing in front of you all, because I, as a renowned stoic or emotional challenged person, as Dave used to tell me before he moved and became more PC, there was a different word in there. I decided to be PC. I stupidly told Elaine at the Christmas party 2 weeks ago that I would pay for the car insurance of anyone who managed to make me cry with their farewell. I'm sure that there was some context as to why it was car insurance, but it was a Christmas party and I can't remember it. It was probably Elaine's idea. She's always looking to make a quick buck. Anyway, having breakfast, lunch and dinner with many of you earlier this week in Melbourne, as I inadvertently spread this illness to many of my favourite people, I began to fear I was not as stoic as I had thought, and on Wednesday night had transferred several thousand of each of my kids' university funds in case I needed it today. Bullet dodged successfully. But seriously, I'm gutted that I'm not able to spend time with each of you today, to thank you, to wish you well, to say goodbye, and of course, to have you tell me how much you'll miss me after you've had a couple of drinks. I'm reflecting over the last fortnight of my time at Bodycare in preparation for talking to you all today. I thought of the things we have achieved together over the last 9 years, starting with the what's. The business has quadrupled its size, for example, which is a truly incredible thing to be part of. But I quickly realised it's not about the what's, but the who's. My life's purpose is to learn and to help those that want it to grow towards their potential. For a person driven by learning and helping people to grow, what a truly incredible place Bodycare is for me to have spent the last 9 years. Dave is not as an exciting as presenter as I am, and he insists on people having fun. So I'll keep it to 3 examples of what I've learned from the incredible people I have had the privilege to work with. Nina Salome interviewed me, which is a funny photo, interviewed me, hired me, and was my first boss at Bodycare. Nina was born into a Muslim family and knew from her early teens that she was a lesbian, which is a tough place to be. Nina is also known she has always wanted to be a mum. And when the long-term relationship she was in when I met her ended, she made the hard decision to have a child on her own and take on that responsibility. She worked full-time with us while going through the long and draining process to make this happen via IVF, and eventually was blessed with a beautiful daughter, Adele. Raising a child alone as a single parent is not easy, and even harder if your extended family support is not as strong. Nina has never shirked her responsibility as a mother, and Adele is one of the most loved children in the world. From Nina, I've learned about bravery, about who you are, and about unconditional love. Might need you in a sec. Really much. Yeah, I'll have it back. Yeah. The next example I'll give is Dave. Many of you having to read it. Many of you having to read out nice things about yourself would be embarrassing, but I know Dave very well and he will love it. Despite not being as good looking as me, I'll be asking people later, Dave, that you actually said that. I'm so very excited that Dave has returned to Melbourne office and to take on a more influential role than he's ever had before. I'm privileged to work with Dave and call him a friend. He's a man that I look up to. Just there. I'll be all right in a sec.
I'm privileged to have worked with Dave and to call him a friend. He's a man that I look up to. He's a man that I'd like to be more like when I grow up. And failing that, given a member of the health assessments team this week revealed they genuinely thought I was 62 years old. Who was that? Brilliant. I'd like to come back more like Dave in my next life. From Dave, I've learned kindness, fairness, courage, and fun. You'll always be one of my favourite people, and I'm so glad to be handing the operations reign back to you to take to the next level.
Yeah. My final example is Dean. I will be forever grateful to you, Dean. You have seen in me a potential far beyond that which I have dared to see in myself. You then invested in that potential with a loyalty and trust that has been a career and life-changing for me. I hope I've been able to pass on those lessons of loyalty, recognition, and investment in potential talent that I've learned from you to other past and present leaders at Bodycare. From you, Dean, I've also learned that the world is changed by those willing, when the timing is right, to be unreasonable in their expectations of themselves and others, push the boundaries of what is believed possible to be done. Our response in delivering hundreds of thousands of COVID RAT tests being a great example of this.
I forgot about the napkin.
Yeah.
Carrying the hanky.
It's a hanky. Yeah.
Seen that in years. No one has an
These three examples I have given here are people in leadership roles, but I have had many other examples of people that I've learned from that were peers or people reporting to me. Sam Mohammadi, Arthur Kapsamalis, Alex Tenser, Karen Foote, Vicky, Mick, Elaine, Geordie, and Dave Holder. Ethan being just a small selection of people that have been influential on me. There are many more of these there are many more, and the chances of you all there are many more, and the chances are, if you are hearing these words, that you are one of them. When I came to Bodycare, my children were 7 and 3 years old, fresh off the plane from what for them was a new country. My wife had transferred with her work, and it was my job to find us schools, a house, and find a job. Bodycare was that job, and Grace and Zach are now going into year 11 and year 7. I am far better man, leader, husband, and most importantly to me, father, to those 2 children for having spent my last 9 years at Bodycare with you all, and I will be forever grateful for that. My purpose is to learn and to help those wanting to reach their full potential. With that in mind, the time is right for me to find a new group of people to learn from, and also to make way for others with different skill sets to my own to come in and help you continue to grow as individuals and as a company. Loyalty is my middle name, however, and if Dean or any of you need me at any time, you can reach out. I'll always be grateful to hear from you and help in any way I can. Have a fantastic Christmas party and a well-earned break. I'll see you on the farm in 2024. Please note, ChatGPT cannot vouch for the accuracy of this information. Please check sources if accuracy is important.
Let's kick on to the next part of this. Have we got handout things for awards? No. No. Okay, so we're going to announce them and then we'll present you with the awards. Actually, will we make it come up? Yeah. Maybe we'll do it later. We're going to go through the awards. Okay, so there are several awards. There's some for practitioners and there are some for representing office staff around Australia and New Zealand. We're going to start with our practitioner awards. And I want to thank everyone who responded and nominated people, because really there are so many incredible people in this organisation that make a difference every single day to people's lives and to each other here. And I think it's an important thing to take time out of your day to write something down, recognise them and nominate. For those of you who did it, I really appreciate it. It was really good. Innovation. So we had several finalists in this. Our category finalists were Anne-Marie and Matt, and the winner is Anne-Marie. I've got the reason why. Anne-Marie has worked autonomously in developing and implementing a monthly proactive calendar at many of her sites, off her own back, by the way. She doesn't wait to be told by CRMs. She has worked with CRMs and clients to create rotating monthly content on common physical and wellbeing topics, from neck pain to sleep and nutrition. Whilst this concept of the monthly proactive calendar is being developed by the OSIP team, Anne-Marie has been a step ahead. That is proper. Anne-Marie, today's the day. Okay, integrity, our finals. Nitu, Holly and David. And the winner is David. Well done, David. For integrity. David continues to demonstrate that he's not just a great clinical therapist, but someone who is quick to pick on barriers or issues and promptly escalate these to both body care and clients. Very important when you're on site and we don't have day-to-day contact. He will always be respectful and effectively raise his concerns in a manner that enables constructive action. Love that. That's integrity at its best. Well done. Communication. Finalists, Georgia, Pranav and Zihan. Sounds like it's New Zealand dominated. And the winner is Georgia. Georgia has demonstrated a proactive and strong level of communication from the get-go. She provides meaningful updates and responses to clients and body care, as well as liaising effectively with the other therapists, sharing her site's three big national clients. Vizzy? Metcash. Perth, Aldi, Americold. This has been extremely impressive for someone not so long in this role. Well done. Amazing, Georgia. Proactive. Okay, well, Dan gets a mention. Finalists, Dan, Holly and Pranav. And the winner is Pranav. Well done. Pranav, Pranav operates all of his sites with proactivity. He understands the client's needs and plans and takes initiative and implements injury prevention programs that address these needs. He does this without guidance and always checks in with the office support team to keep them in the loop. He is also proactively upskilling and becoming certified in occupational health and safety, doing a degree. Well done, Pranav. Amazing. Okay, on to our awards. Innovation. Category finalists, Ethan, Michaela and Nat. And the winner is Ethan. We're also missing Ethan. I think that's where Dan got COVID from. Not your fault, Ethan. But Ethan's not well. I spoke to him this morning. He actually sounds like he's on the way through. But congratulations, Ethan. Ethan, there is no doubt in my mind that everybody has felt the impact of Ethan over the last 12 months. He gets his way into nearly every project of improvement across this organisation. And the truth is, he's probably the first real BA, analyst we've had in this organisation, and it's been incredible. And he's worked so closely with Dan over the last 12 months. And I think Ethan, if he was standing here today, would thank Dan enormously for the journey that he's brought him on. So well done, Ethan. Ethan's relentless pursuit of innovation consistently leads him to design approaches that enhance our systems and propel us towards greater efficiency. His ideas and designs have already helped streamline the accounts and booking systems. Well done, mate. Great job. Everyone feels it. Integrity. Category finalists, Michaela, Jordan and Nathan.
Ethan just got on the line.
No, Peter. Peter is coming in. Welcome, Peter. Okay, our finalists, Michaela, Jordan and Nathan. And the winner is no one. And the winner is it's Nathan. He's not coming up. I can see it here. He's not coming up there. Body care would not be the same without this bloke. Perfect description. By the way, best socks in the world. And if you don't know it, you should know it. And you're going to take notice of, he always wears the best socks. And him and Dave Carroll used to have a bit of a sock off, if that makes sense. Dave's come without sock today because I knew he was going to get beaten. So but just keep your eye on their socks through the year. He's the backbone of the OSIP team. Nathan is always willing to provide these careful, considered opinions and deliver them in a diplomatic way. It is apparent to anyone that his care for our therapists' well-being is his primary motivator. Love that about him. And you can't go wrong with that mindset. Well done, mate. He's the first guy that will put his hand up and question anything that doesn't act with integrity across this organisation. And that is exactly why we love Nathan, because there are times where we're not perfect and we want good people to call us out on those things, and he's not afraid to do it. And I love that. Well done, mate.
Two-time award winner, I think.
Oh, if I wouldn't known that, you wouldn't have got it. I can't move.
As a therapist, though.
Abby, I can't move forward.
No, he was CRM.
Is it CRM?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll just do that.
What's it called?
I just click the mouse. I just.
Integrity. The dual integrity award.
Wow. I'm owning it. Back to back.
No,
Not back to back.
no.
No, you know why.
I know.
Yeah.
Sandy's like, I know. All right, communication. Alicia, Sophie, and Jordan. And the winner is Alicia. Put up your hand. Alicia is always a pleasure to work with due to her friendly nature, prompt and thorough communication, and reliable follow-up on all matters pre-employment and bookings. Being from the OSIP team, I found Alicia's help and communication invaluable over the last year. Clearly, someone from the OSIP team has recommended Alicia for that role. Well done. Okay, proactivity. It's probably one of my favourites. Michaela, Nat, and Din. And the winner is Nat and Din. Okay, has implemented process improvement and continued to develop within our OSIP team. And if you know Nat, like she's a proper leader, like really takes things and runs with it. It's amazing. He's always looking for improvements and has great ideas about how we can continue to grow and develop our team. So well done, Nat. So Din, none of you are going to know. Din leads the team over in Vietnam. We've got a development team over in Vietnam. Russ, how many is our team now? 7 developers that have been with us for now, what, a year and a half, 2 years? 2 years, who are genuinely a part of this team, but you guys never get the Microsoft Record team know them well, but the rest of the team don't really know them. And they have been integral to how far this software has come. They've been bolstered by our developers in Australia in the last 12 months, but really they're an incredible team. And Din leads that group, and he ensures that front end and back end, if it makes sense to any of you guys, front end and back end, which is what we see and what we don't see in a piece of software. It works, it's coordinated, he manages the team, and in all honesty, he just is there 24/7 to help make sure things are running smoothly. So thank you, Din, and well done, mate. Good work. Someone's got their mic on. I'm not going through this. Anyone said that? Do we want to just work out who's got their mic on so they don't get in trouble? Turn your mic off. Someone's got their mic on. Okay. Best athlete. We brought this in because there's a lot of athletes across this business, and I'd like to really see someone out of the Healthworks team win this. So there's a bit of a, this year where I think we've got a bit of a balance, and the winner is Elizabeth. So, who's here? Please. All right, we've got to know why. Why do you think you won Best Athlete this year? Do you want to tell us some international event you might have done? Can you come out for a second? I'm going to embarrass you. Come on, how's it going? Come on. This is Lisa's running outfit, by the way. Probably is. Yeah, the one I take. You can't say that. I know you've done a few, but just tell us the big one.
Yeah, I did a race in Sweden this year, which had 250 kilometres of swimming and running continuous. So we swam about 78 Ks and we ran the rest of it. So we were running in wetsuits and swimming in our runners all the time. 60 hours this year.
60 hours non-stop?
Non-stop. I think we had a 20-minute lie down. That was it for the 60 hours. So we started on a Tuesday morning at 7 and we didn't finish till Thursday at 8 o'clock or something like that. And no other. So the other big thing is that no other teams were able to finish this year. Four in the team, so 3 of you have to do all the swimming and running together, and in fact you're tethered together for all the swimming. And then we have one person who we put on our support boat, and he's the one that helps to navigate on the water. And then we have to do all the navigating on the land. So it's also there's no set course. You just have to find random checkpoints. And so you have to choose the course like an orienteering sort of style race, which is really gets much easier than North Sea Proprietary Island.
So you get out of the water, you land somewhere on the shoreline,
And
and
then
you
you-
know you've got to get to another part of the island.
Yeah.
You don't have a journey away. You don't have.
So there's no set course. So you have a map and you can pick to go like around this island, or you can go over it. So it depends if there's tracks or there's a lot of islands with no tracks. And you can also choose, there's a checkpoint here and a checkpoint here in the archipelago, so lots of islands. And you can choose to go this way and island hop, or you could go for a longer swim and then hit a couple of islands and that sort of stuff. So lots of teams take different routes. So there's a bit of strategy involved as well.
I'm going to bet there's not many companies that have got a better athlete than us. And awesome. You think you're good if you get up and go to gym and say, eh? Not a chance. All right, above and beyond. And the winner is Danny Covey. I've already touched on Danny a bit. Danny is now heading up operations in New Zealand. He's the type of individual where anything that is required, he just gets done. It doesn't matter whether it's his job or not. Would you agree, Dave? Yep. And at different times through the last year, he's found himself on site, running teams, fixing problems, and he just does it every day with a smile on his face. And it's one thing we love about him. And again, I said it earlier, I really want to get Danny and some of the team members over here because they're just fantastic. And I think once you meet him, you'll realise what a great guy Danny certainly is. So well done, Danny. Good job. So we really created this award for Jazzy, right? Who's now left us in the health assessments team, but it needs to keep flowing because I think it's a great award. It's an uplifting award. It's someone who's always got a smile on their face and brings enjoyment to everyone they work with. This year, the award actually goes to someone who we're all getting to know. So I'm going to announce it, and the winner is Lauren. Hey, Lauren. Lauren hasn't been with us that long yet, but Lauren is managing timetabling and scheduling for the on-site team, but clearly a personality we're getting to like and with lots of energy. And so congratulations, you're our official Ray of Sunshine this year. I love it. The Matthew Fishman Award. So we've called him once, but again, it's a keeper, right? Like, you sort of got to keep it just for the photo, to be honest. So this award can be seen in many ways, depending on each year how I give it, I'm going to sort of address it differently. But the reason behind the Matthew Fishman Award this year is certainly that something I think we all love about Matthew is that he just gets his shit done. And if you're in a room with Matthew, things get done, they get moving. If he says something's going to happen, it happens. I don't know how he gets so much done in his day. He gets a lot done in his day. But he does it without asking for kudos. And he sits in his room, because he likes to sit in his room, to be honest. He doesn't want to talk about it, but he sits in his room and he just does it. And doesn't ask for, to be the flair of the organisation. And so the winner of this year's award represents exactly that. And the winner is Jordan. It's a positive thing. Jordan is because Jordan's exactly that sort of human being. And she, anything that gets asked of Jordan, and she certainly stepped up to run DJCS and all that in, but you've got to know what's going on, huh? It could be Dan. Dan, is your mic on, Dan? Lean over and turn it off. So Jordan, again, joined us through COVID. We were desperately needing someone who could possibly manage 1,000 people on different timetables, and because we were truly fucking it up. And Jordan came in with that experience out of hospitality. Again, good to be in health. Hospitality is a really struggling industry, and took it on and just nailed it. Did an incredible job. And then through the last 12, 24 months, has said, I want more. Just picked up a life move to Melbourne, part of the team in Melbourne, right? And joined the health assessments team. And successfully took on overseeing clinics, the clinic network and health assessment. And DJCS, which is an enormous contract. It's a government contract. That's what makes it enormous. It's not that it's so big. It's big, but it's because government is complicated to deal with and requires governance and all these layers around it. And they love it. And they love the service. And that comes with a lot of credibility around it. So, Jordan, you've done an amazing job. And, you know, to her credit, she's taking the next leap. So she's joining the Microsoft Record team next year, as I mentioned earlier, to oversee and program manage the body care transition to Microsoft Record. And she's going to have teams and groups reporting to her. So, Jordan, congratulations. Okay, my lucky award that I get to give. I'm going to tell you, this year was for me an absolute walk in the park, no brainer of a decision, and it happened in about 1 second. Whoever was sitting with me, I just said, yep, that's the person. So I'm going to get him to come stand up here first. Mick, can you come up here, please? I don't want it to get boring because I've already spoken about Mick quite a few times today, but the truth is that I feel really lucky to be able to give out an award each year. It's a privilege, and for me, and I you know, I don't know where to start. Mick is a true sign of someone who fulfills all of the values of this organisation, and as a result, has the respect of nearly everyone across this organisation, which is really hard to get. But the way she goes about her day-to-day role, the respect she's earned, not only just from the team and the people that work around her, but in the last few months, Mick, who started on the phone several years ago in the health assessments team, is now heading it and is a part of the senior leadership of this organisation. The respect she's even earned across the senior leadership for someone so young is incredible. The way she thinks, the way she puts systems around processes, her engagement with people is just a sign of who you are, and at the same time balancing family at home, which is not easy, and does it and makes it look like it's all okay. Like you really see how you're pointing around it, right? I know, but we don't see a lot of it. You might be happening, but we don't see it. So on behalf of me, but really on behalf of everyone, I want to thank you for the incredible things you're doing in this organisation and the way you are running health systems now, and for just being you, because you're a very much loved person. So thank you. Oh, we're nearly done. Here we go. Yeah. It's fine.
Don't you wanna just come out for the ride? You can see my heartbeat tonight. We can take the heat, baby, faithfully. I'm not that shy. Cause everyone else treats me. Don't give a down. When you make me out, don't need you, baby, no turn down. I can dance, I can dance, I can dance. Watch me dance. But you won't see it in your face. Watch me dance. Still keep the body burning up one lately, I've been up to the edge. Still been looking my best. I can stay on the beat, you can get on me. I ain't mixing no steps. Everyone else treats me, so give it down. When they make it, baby, don't trade down. I can dance, I can dance, I can dance. Watch me dance the night away. I could be burning, but you won't see it on my face. Watch me dance the night away. We still keep the party. Takes that black and face. So keep the party going up, can't hide the place. It takes that black and make the feelings in my face. So keep the party going up, can't hide the place. Watch me. It's just the way. I'm perfect when you're not your face. Watch me. It's like the way. So keep the party going up.
Great segue. All right, so we're winding up, but I think it's really important that we talk about 2024 briefly, because I genuinely have this feeling inside me right now that 2023 is ending in a really good way. The last couple of months just felt like this momentum is starting to build, and in a really nice way. And I'm genuinely excited for 2024 is going to bring to us. And as I look at each business unit across the organisation, doesn't matter where you sit, there are exciting things on the horizon. They're going to challenge us in 2024, but they're going to also create greatness in this organisation. And this is not to read through, but there was a really long list that we asked of the leaders of the business to put together for us about what's happening in 2024. Like we're sitting here in December, what do we already know about next year? And, you know, you might be able to read a couple of them up there. You know, wearable tech, we've barely touched on it this year. The OSIP team rolled it out across Visy. It's going to explode next year into our on-site hours. It's a really good example. We're working with clubs like organisations like Chemist Warehouse. We're doing some big work with them. Social events, 100%. If you haven't felt that in the last month, then you haven't been here the last 2 months. You wait till next year. We are going and we're going hard. We want more social activity. We want more events like throwing airplanes and doing that sort of stuff, because I love that stuff. That's what it should be about. Enjoying, taking some time out, you know, let's do some stupid game at work and let's have some fun. And I want to make sure that's happening across Australia and New Zealand, absolutely everywhere. You know, senior physios, Nate running the physios, I want to make sure that they're developing. There's just stuff happening across the whole business. Market Trickle will roll out to Adecco, and we're going to start selling next year to the wider market, which we're already getting some engagement in. It is a really exciting time to come up. And this is really my last slide. And it was how are we going to finish this presentation? And I can't stop thinking about that this business, whilst we are in the now, has existed for 20 plus years. And, you know, to grow and to bring people together and to nurture development of individuals, it's a ride, it's a journey. And it goes up and down all the time, as things do in all of our lives. And, you know, and I think about the last 5 years, call it 4 since COVID started, it's been a bit chaotic. Some would say it was chaotic before because that's what we loved. We spoke about innovation and all those things. But, you know, COVID hit and the whole world changed for everyone, not just us, but everybody. And we did magic. We did some great stuff, but it also at the same time was really, really hard for us. Really hard. Whilst we were winning as a business and growing our brand and doing all those great things, it really took a lot out of a lot of people. And I think coming through that has been a real challenge. And as I think about the last financial year, that ended obviously 1st of July this year, it's a really hard year for the business and it was felt. But some really big decisions were made. And it took some strong leadership across the organisation to make them in how we were going to plan this business to move forward, what it needed to look like to grow and be better and bring back culture, which is really challenging in a modern world when we've got workforces that work partly from home, partly from work. That's okay, that's what we want, but to bring culture around that is a really challenging environment for organisations in this modern world. And as I stand here today, I genuinely feel like we've come out of the clouds. I feel that. I feel like there's a layer of energy around this organisation that is starting to feel really great. And there's direction in each business unit that's starting to feel really good, and we can see it happening at an individual and at an organisational level. And so when I think about 2024, it gets me excited, and it should get you excited, because what we've done is created this layer of stability of systems across the organisation to enable us to do some great stuff, to get excited about being challenged into worlds that we don't currently exist in, and to bring products to market that we're going to do, assess AI, all these other things that you're going to start seeing come to market, Bootcut, all these crazy things that we couldn't have done years ago. So today is about going out, enjoying yourself, celebrating the year that we've just had, celebrating each other, the relationships, the friendships, and then go away over the summer and have a great break and enjoy it. And then come back next year, because it's going to feel great. It's going to be really good. The energy's coming, and I can't wait to see it. So on behalf of myself, the board, the leadership team, the executive team, every one of us in this organisation, I want to remind you what the first slide said. There's a wheel. Every single person in that is as important as everyone else. And I can't wait to share 2024 with you. So thank you. Let's go and enjoy the afternoon. All right, let's go, guys. Good. So there's a bus arriving at
6 minutes.
6 minutes. So literally, you have 6 minutes to be downstairs and out the front.
See you guys.
See you guys. Thanks.